Hi guys, Squirrel here, and welcome to another episode of Derail Valley. It's been a little while since the previous one. I've been focused on the Roadcraft release, which I've now completely finished that game. But we're back on Derail Valley. We are down at the harbour, if you remember. We just brought a delivery down here, and on the back there we've got our boiler, which we need to take up to the museum and get that fitted. But these locomotives need a refuel and that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do first is pop them over to the service yard there, get everything brought up to satisfactory status, shall we say. And then we'll drive up to City South and get that part fitted at the museum and see if we can get our steam locomotive up and running. So let's get started. Right, in come our locomotives. We'll just get the front one lined up here. Right, now I'm now on B99.5 because while we took a little hiatus between this episode and the last one, they've gone and dropped another version of the game. Let me just get this turned off, which is B99.5. And B99.5, two things about that. First of all, it has a lot of fixes in it, so a lot of performance improvements. It's really nice and smooth now. A lot of performance improvements, a lot of fixes. In B99.5, and also it's going to be the last update that we're going to see for quite some time, because the next one is B100 and we're looking at late 2026, but I might make a separate video and talk about that. What I actually want to talk about, let me just get this all done while I'm talking. What I want to talk about is I did ask at the end of the last episode for your comments on wrapping this series up. 1, 2... And thank you very much for those. There was a lot of comments on that subject. Some hilarious ones, I have to say. The common theme was, basically, you've not been to the sawmill yet, which is true. We've not actually been to the sawmill, so I'm hoping to address that in this episode. I'd like to do a sawmill run in this episode. Also asking if I could spawn the BE2, which is the battery electric vehicle, and use that a little bit more when shunting. I can certainly do that. You'd also like me to go and get the caboose, which I haven't even done yet, so we'll try and get the caboose. Obviously, the steam locomotives need driving, both of them. One's fixed up, the other one isn't fixed up yet. I will do that separately, though, I think, maybe towards the end of the series. And there's other things like, you know, taking multiple D6s and doing the longest haul that I can for the lols kind of thing. Also, some slight disappointment in the fact that I haven't managed to crash my locomotives very much, bar the bug, the B99.4 bug that I had when I unpaused the game, and it derailed some cars, which has been fixed allegedly. But apart from that, I've not managed to crash my trains, which seems to annoy some of you, which I do find somewhat hilarious. Yes, it's true. I have been playing this game a long time, and I don't tend to crash very often. It's not unknown. I do actually crash, but it's few and far between. So, you know, if you're here to see some derails, then this is perhaps not the right videos to watch. Let me get the lights on. There we go. We'll just put the side lights on. Reverse can go on as well. So, yeah, but it is true that I don't crash very much. There's also the subject of blowing the horns on the trains, so I guess I'm going to have to address that one. I don't even know where the horn is on this thing. I use it so rarely. Hang on. Wheel slip sound. There it is. It is pretty good, has to be said. It's pretty good, the horn on this thing. But yeah, there's no requirement to use it. You can if you want to, but it literally makes no difference whatsoever if you use it or not. Let me bring that map up. We're going to go out the harbour and hang a left, aren't we? We want to go up to City South, and because it's on the back of the train, I'm going to reverse all the way up there. And what we'll do is we'll drive straight into museum. So we're going to come this way. We're going to go right, into museum, get that thing shunted in, and that'll be us done. So we'll just reverse it all the way up, I think. Did cut the brakes in, didn't I? Yep, I did cut the brakes in. Good. Then there was things like giving the DM3 some runs out. I did use the DM3. Let me open this. I did use the DM3 at one point. Very briefly, but not really done anything serious with it. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. Then, obviously, using the steamers. You want me to buy the gold shovel, which I don't have. There's actually a whole bunch of gadgets that I've not used either. What I'm probably going to do... Oh, and the last thing is a celebratory explosion of cars is something that you guys wanted. You wanted me to see me just blow some stuff up as a finale, which I might well do. What I'm planning to do is, as we wind this series out, is move on to make some other Derail Valley episodes, which will include not just kind of one-off jobs, interesting big jobs, challenges, that kind of thing, but a lot of... you know, things that I've learned about gadgets and how to use them, tips and tricks, if you like, for people who are learning to play the game. Currently, as I understand it, there's a big discount on Derail Valley, 25% off, I think it is, on Steam. That won't last for very long. So if you are watching this video because it happened to pop up in your feed, yes, you can go back to episode 1 and watch the whole series, but you can pick the game up currently on a sale. So if you're thinking about it, now's a good time, because those sales don't come very often on this game. Anyway, let's get this up to the museum and get it all fitted up. Here we are, just arriving at the museum, just getting it slowed down. Coming in a little bit hot. I think what we'll do is I'll detach this in the center of the turntable, this car at the end here. That'll then despawn that anyway, it'll take that. And then I'll shunt that out the way. We'll pull this lot forward as soon as we've done that. Can I get on there? Yes, I can. Perfect. That's a better view. Not seen a use for that thing yet. Oh, that's not good. How did I manage to leave it like that? Wait, what? Okay. It just stole it from over... I've never seen that before. I don't remember leaving that turntable like that. I really don't remember doing that. Okay. Anyway, go to the museum's office and fund the new parts. Let's just pay for that. That was really confusing, that was. So 10 grand to fit the part. There we go. Pop that in there. Tow the vehicle to a service point where you can fully repair and refuel it before... Be aware, this will be costly. Don't we know it? So yeah, what we want to do is grab the loco. That's the 282. There's the 60 right there. So we need to basically pull this out. But what I want to do first is grab this car off the back here. So if I... What I could do is just give it a little nudge. So how about if I do this? This is being a bit cheeky. We'll disconnect that. Unhook that off there. I think they've fixed that bug as well. You know, the one where the couplers kept spawning in weird places. So if I just give this a little nudge. Sounds like the brakes are on. Hang on. Where's the lever on this thing? So I had a lovely smart idea. I don't know where the lever is. There's a lever that you can pull that releases the residual brake pipe pressure, and I can't find it. No, I don't know where it is. Okay, well, so much for that smart idea. Let's stop that. Pull this thing out of the way. I didn't think there'd be any residual pressure left because we just had the brake pipes pressurized, and then I oh, I should have... Ah, that's what I did. That's what I should have done. There is no lever anyways. Could have just done that. Release the pressure that way. Never mind. Let me stop the engine over here. Clearly my brain's not working today. Let me stop this engine. Stop the engine. Put the whole handbrake on. Right, and let's spawn the BE2 and shove this out of the way. Right, so let's see. Work train. We want the BE2. We'll spawn it here. I'll face it that way, yes. $1,000. There she is. Right, let's get this thing hooked up. So we'll put that on that. We'll do that. Do that. So I didn't turn the parking brake on, so that should be off. Right, BE2. So, let's think about this. Electrics and traction motor. We're going to have to let the main reservoir come up. We'll need to cut the brake in. We'll need to release the parking brake. Cab lights, stage 1 will do. Don't need the sander. Headlights doesn't really matter. So there you go. Not only does this count towards using the BE2 in this playthrough, but I'm also demonstrating the use of the horns on the different vehicles as well. Right, there we go. We got enough pressure? Yeah, getting there. Let's put it in reverse. We should have enough to stop. It's a fairly lightweight car. No, brakes aren't released. You can hear it grinding still. The brakes are not yet released. You need to get up to about 5 bars, really. Let's just give it a sec to do that. So let's just think about where we're going to put this. I'll probably... I could put it there. I'll probably put it here, actually. Put it behind the handcar. Which I've not really used very much. Just push it out the way. This has no horn on it, so I can't use the horn on this one. I love the brake. It's like the most simple device ever. Incredibly simple. Like, there's not really anything to go wrong on that. Trouble is, up a slope, that would be hard work, wouldn't it? Okay, brakes should come up to 5 bar. Maybe we're okay now. Yeah, there we go. And we'll park it there. Right. Let's get this thing turned around. And hopefully I can guess roughly where we want to go. It's about there. Sounds like it clicked. Yeah, I think that's right. Let me just double check. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we want to go forward now. It even sounds like a Tesla, doesn't it? What's the charge state? It's pretty charged. I hardly use this, that's why it's charged. You can charge it at a normal service centre. In the same way you charge the diesels by plugging the diesel hose in. Whoa, steady there, boy. On this one, you basically plug in the electric cable. I'm going to put the parking brake on that. We'll leave the brakes cut in. We'll turn that off and that off. Get all this turned off here. Put the reverse into neutral. And we'll disconnect this car. Oh, interesting. Interesting. That's still not perfect. That's still a bit glitched, isn't it? Look. There we go. Still a little bit janky, that one. Anyway, let's put the parking brake on this. And that's that out the way. I've just realised that I shouldn't have turned this off because we need to use it now. So that was a good move. Well done, Mr. Squirrel. Traction motors are on. Right, we're now reverse. It just sounds like a weird tram. Where have I heard that noise before? It's one of the shuttle trains I've been on at like an airport or something. It sounds just like that. Okay, let's turn around. And there's the SO60 right there. So we're going to put this in the service bay and get it all fixed up. We'll have to have a look at the colour choices, of course. It's hard to gauge how quick you're going because the sound doesn't really line up with the speed very much. It's kind of weird. Right, what are we going to do? Repair, refuel, paint. looks like it's touching. Lovely. Undo that. Undo that. That should release the brakes. And parking brake released. What pressure are we on? Good brake pressure. Put it in reverse. So it's kind of fun using this. I should have used this more often, shouldn't I? I mean, I know it costs like $1,000 to spawn it, but frankly, we can make that money back easily now, can't we? So it's probably cheaper to run as well than spawning a DE2. Right, so I'm going to push this in. And we need to take it into the service bay before we refill it with water and that kind of thing. So we need to put it in that one. And then go and grab the paint can and that kind of thing. Oh, I hope I have enough paint left. Uh-oh. I actually don't know if I have enough paint left. Also, I can't actually see what I'm doing. Next one along. There we go. Yeah, I don't know what the paint situation is. Actually, a very handy little shunt of this. I quite like this. Well, I just need to wait for the ding. Well, I've not necessarily heard the ding. Put the parking brake on. Oh, I was nowhere near, crikey. I was nowhere near. Like, from inside... Whoa. From inside the cab, it actually looked like I was on top of the yellow thing. Had the ding then. Parking brake is set. Okay, so LO84 is not that one. This is LO40. Is that the battery connector on this one? If you ever wanted to do the battery thing, you'd have to grab that and put it in there. There you go. And then if you flick that to LO40, it says electrical powertrain, mechanical powertrain, wheels, so you can fix it all up as usual. But yeah, there was pretty much nothing to do. Anyway, so this one, this is where it's going to get expensive. So we've got the mechanical powertrain. We've got the wheels. We have the body. Lots of oil. Look at these bills, horrendous. Lots of sand. Almost $1,000 worth of sand. And then the diesel we don't do because it's not a diesel. Right, let's grab that out of there. Put that back. Beautiful. Well, that is as much as we can do here. We do need to paint it up and add loads of stuff to it. So let's grab the paint can and see if we can make it look a bit nicer. Now, luckily for me, we do actually have enough paint. So what I'm going to do is put the sand on the floor. I'll put the other sand on the floor. And then we'll grab the paint sprayer. There it is. Yeah, we've got 2 demonstrator paints and 2 DVRTs. So we'll do the usual thing. We'll have a look at both of them, see what they look like. Let's get the outside sanded up first and get this thing looking nice. That looks better already. And then on the inside... Oops. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Look at that. That looks so good. Blimey, that's almost drivable as it is. Now, the thing is about the SO60 is it doesn't have a separate tender. So we don't need to worry about that aspect of it. It actually has like a built-in coal chute at the back there with some storage. Quite a clever little design to keep it nice and compact. But obviously it does limit its distance that it can travel. So let's have a look at the two different paint options. Let's start off by doing DVRT inside and out and see what that looks like. So, DVRT on the inside. Looks basically, I mean, it's very old English in the color scheme, I'd say. You know, you've got your very dark red, your very dark green, and lots of black and gold. Like, very classic look, that is. Classic kind of British steam loco look on the inside. Let's have a look at what the outside looks like. If I actually spawn on the correct side. There we go. One would expect it to look the same, dark green. And indeed, that is what you get. Like, that is absolutely superb inside and out. Nothing wrong with that at all. But what does the demonstrator look like? Because I'm curious. So, demonstrator, paint inside. What does it look like? It turns it into... not much different, if I'm perfectly honest. Instead of it being red down here, it's kind of red on the walls. There's no dark green. In place of the dark green, you've got a dark wood front wall there, and you've got a white ceiling. Now, if you were... like, I would argue that you could use this with the DVRT external paint as well. It would perfectly fit. It's still got, like, the red and green kind of black combo going on with gold. I think this is better than the DVRT, though. I think this is lighter on the ceiling, so if you did want to fit some kind of lighting in here, it would be much better off. Better reflectivity going on. I just think that's a slightly brighter kind of paint scheme. The question is, what does the outside do in demonstrator paint? Okay, so in the demonstrator paint, instead of having the classic kind of green look, what you get is straight up red and black. Which, again, I'll be honest with you, with all the other locomotives, I tend to like one on and not the other. With this one, I like both. I like DVRT and demonstrator both inside and out. I think they look really nice. But on the whole, I know demonstrator paint costs a lot more money. On the whole, I would just go with that. So I'm just going to leave it like that. So that's my choice. But the cheaper option and perfectly suited option would be DVRT. But let's put this thing over in the other yard and get some water and some coal loaded up into it. Right, we do of course have one more thing that we need to do. Now we've got it all repaired. Is put some lubrication into the drivetrain, which we can easily do. You can only do this once the vehicle's been repaired though, and what it basically does is take oil from the vehicle and put it in this lubrication tin. You're just kind of distributing it to the parts that it can't actually lubricate itself. Some people think that you have to refill this canister. You don't. It uses the vehicle's oil to fill up. One more to do up now. There we go. But if you don't do it, you're going to hear the whole drivetrain squeak, and it is going to cause some serious damage. So that is something not to forget. If you do hear the drivetrain squealing, that's probably what it is. Right, let's put that in there. Don't forget that one, otherwise it'll gradually fall out. The next one along is the water, I think. And the water on the SO60 fills up on the kind of front flank there on the... oh, it just sounds a bit bad, doesn't it? I'm going to say, because it put the parking brake on, did it? No, it didn't. It didn't put the parking brake on. It still sounds quite bad, though. Really Is that... They are definitely on. Definitely got grease in it. There is an oiler thing that we probably have to turn on as well to provide lubrication. That's the dynamo. That's the compressor. I don't use the SO60 very much. I can't remember where everything is. There's normally a lubrication valve as well. It lubricates the engine, but I can't see it. Okay. Let me just push it in, see if I can figure it out. Doesn't sound great, does it? The other thing is I need to guess at where to put the water hose on this because, like I say, the tanks are basically here. We need to drag this thing over to here so it lines up properly. Which we can do by turning this wheel, but trying to get it lined up is going to be a real pain. Suspect I'm going to have to go a little bit forward. Misaligned, okay. Now, annoyingly, in this B2, you can't stand down this side, so you can't... You're trying to look at something over here, you can't see it very well. There we go. That's now lined up. So... LO84 is in range. When you look at that, it makes you wonder how any of the water actually goes inside the tank. So that's now full. So we'll buy that water. It's very, very expensive water. There we go. And if we have a quick look in the tank, we should be able to see. Where's my little torch? There you go. So you can clearly see the blueness of that water. Question is, do we need to fill this one as well? The answer is no. So they're obviously joined. So $4,500 worth of water right there. We just need to move it back to the other side and get the coal chute lined up with the back of the chute there, which shouldn't be as hard as it perhaps would be on the other tenders. Right, so I did actually remember that the lubricator is not up there. The lubricator on this locomotive is actually here. This is what it needs to be. We can see the oil level on the left and the lubrication level on the right, so we need to give this a crank. That basically takes the oil from the main reservoir and distributes it amongst the drivetrain. There you go. You can see on the right now it's actually nearly full. And obviously that will gradually go down over time, but that's now good. That's gone down a little bit. So we've taken oil, distributed it, and then these we have to distribute manually. But now it should make some strange noises, which is always good. There we go. You still hear that sound, that sloshing sound. That's the water in the cylinder head. That is not... We can get rid of that by opening the cylinder cocks, but there's no point until the loco's ready to rock and roll. And then finally we want to go to here. Release the brakes. Oh, I can squeeze down there. What the heck? Oh, if I go... That's interesting. So if you're looking this way, you can't go. If you turn sideways, you can. Huh. Well, I never knew that about the BE2. Okay, let's see if we can get this lined up. Much, much trickier to see. where the line-up point is on this one. Let's have a quick look from the outside. Yeah, I mean, this is where the DE2 actually, with a remote, the DE2 is better than the BE2. Because you can stand outside with the remote and line this thing up. Whereas with this, it's a bit hopeless, really. There we go. Wait for the beep. And apparently that's going to fit in there. No problem at all. That's just like coal dust absolutely everywhere. There we go. Let's not forget to pay the bill. There you go. What a beauty. Fantastic restoration. Take good care of her. She is now completely ready to drive. Just to move it out of there. And that represents, I believe, all the museum locomotives currently available in the game. Now fully restored. We're going to put this one in the bay for now. But yeah, that's basically a milestone right there, isn't it? Like, every vehicle in the game fully restored, painted up, and ready to drive whenever we want to. What I'm going to do is, where is this? Oh, 60 bay. DH4, D3, DM3, I can't find it. There it is. I'm going to reverse this thing in, or pull it in, and then we'll just despawn the BE2 out the way. Bit of wheel spin. Probably want to go a bit further forward than that, don't we? Want it to be sticking out slightly at the front. Need to be careful I don't blow some traction motor fuse on this thing. There we go, that'll do. We'll turn that off, turn that off, and we shall detach from the locomotive and put that parking brake on. Not that it's going to roll anywhere, but hey, there you go. There she is. SO60 fully ticked, DH4 fully ticked, 282, D6, DM3, DE2, everything done. However, we're not finished yet because there's some things that we don't yet have. For example, the caboose, so we should probably go and get that. Right, what I'd like to do is a nice job to the sawmill. So the first thing I'm going to do, I think, is sleep until the early hours in the morning, and then we'll get out of here. Well, good morning, and the weather is looking quite reasonable at the moment, although I think it's going to get misty a bit later on. I didn't really sleep very much. What I actually did was I went backwards and forwards to the shop and got a few bits and pieces. And one of the reasons why I've done it is because of some of the comments that I've received on the last video. Basically saying that it's correct. This DE6 here is not directly connected to that slug there. So the power that it generates, it has to then put through the traction motors and the wheels that it has. It can't transmit it through the slug. Whereas these two, because they're directly connected to the slug, can transmit their power through the traction motors and the axles of this slug, thus giving it more capability. In other words, that D6 may hold up these other two under high load. And it is correct. And the way around that is to fit some equipment to it so that it doesn't overheat and it cuts out if it needs to. It's a temporary solution. Well, it's a bit of a kludge solution because the real solution lies in being able to buy more slugs, and we can't buy more slugs. But if we could, I could just connect that to another slug. I mean, it does get to a point where, you know, the amount of weight that you're adding it just all becomes a little bit pointless. But if you're struggling to get power down, the slug is there for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit some equipment that we normally fit to this thing, the anti-wheel slip computer, the overheat protection, and the amp limiter. That will make sure that if the wheels do slip on either of those D6 rentals, then it will cut the power automatically. This one will ensure that it doesn't overheat over 105, and that will ensure that the traction motors don't have more than 12,000 amps going through them. Sorry, 1,200 amps, let me get that right, going through them. So, to that end, I've put some brackets into here. Now, you can fit equipment into this thing. It is a rental. It does mean, as I've said before, if you leave this line around the yard for a couple of hours, real-time hours, it will despawn this D6, and these bits of equipment and the brackets will return back into your inventory. So you will get stuff back. You just have to refit it all again. Sadly, there's no way around that. Let me just get that on there. And of course, that's upside down. So let me bash it with a hammer twice because I hate it. And the brackets fell off as well because I've just... I accidentally bashed it with a hammer twice, which has put the bracket. Annoyingly, it's despawned it right on the back of here. It may actually be on the ground if I'm really lucky. That's so irritating. I accidentally hit it twice and it just lost the bracket down the back. Oh, God. Let me go. I'll have to go and get another bracket. Let me see which way this is meant to be. So that's meant to be the big circle that way. So that's correct that way. And this one's meant to be like that. So that's all good. We can wire those two in. I'm just going to have to go and buy another bracket. Well, I've got one in my storage. We'll get it fitted. So we're going to put one in here as well. And what I was going to do, which I'll show you now, is I was going to get it that way around so it's the right way up. But I completely made a mess of that, didn't I? So we'll get this one here, and we'll get that one there, and that's exactly what I want. And now I've just got to solder this lot together. So I need to get some solder, 2, 3, get this solder, put that to here, so, bingo bango, and get the soldering gun, and solder it in. And then we just need to set the settings on it, so we've got 105 on this one, and 1200 amps on the other one. Drop that. That will automatically go in. That doesn't need anything else doing to it. There's no settings on the anti-wheel slip. It just detects wheel slip and then basically cuts the power. There you go. It's now wired in. So this proves that you can fit things to rentals. It's not a problem. Just like you say, you might end up losing the fitting of the equipment. Oops. You might end up losing the fitting, but it will end up back in your shed. So there you go. That's 12. That's on there. So what I'll do is I'll fit this bits of equipment to the second locomotive, and then I want to show you something else that I'm going to fit. Right, so that's all been fixed up. This is the front loco. That's now got, this is the lights are active there. That's on 105, and that's on 12. I'm doing exactly the same thing in this one. Lights are on. That's on 105, reduce, and 12. So that will reduce the power if it starts to overheat. That one will just cut the power if it starts to shove too much through the traction motors. Now, there is something that changed in Derail Valley 99.5, which is the recent patch. Basically, in Derail Valley, this solar panel will normally keep this remote control charged up nicely. I've never in the history of playing Derail Valley I've ever had that battery run out. But they've nerfed that battery. That is now 75% less battery life in this than 99.5 before. And that means this is a very good chance of running out. 4 in-game hours of using this remote control, and that battery will be completely flat. And if that's in the middle of the night, you're in trouble, pal. What's the solution? The solution is this. The battery charger. This thing will charge your battery and your torch, or flashlight, if you call it that. It will charge it automatically. Now, trying to find a place to put it is interesting. It won't go here. Well, it could, in theory, go there. But crikey, why would you want it right there? Because I'd rather have the clinometer, etc. You could possibly squeeze it on there, but it would look bizarre, and you'd have to find somewhere else for that lot. Sadly, you can't mount it this way. Well, you can mount it that way, but you can't use it that way. So you could start sticking it on the floor, and I was having a look around thinking, oh, where should I put this thing? And in the end, I just settled on here. It's not the best thing in the world, but, you know, it's better than nothing. So I'm going to just quickly solder that in. And in order to use it, it's quite simple. You just put things on it. That's all you need to do. You can put your, like I say, your torch on it. You can put this on it. It'll just start to charge. Although when it does, I think you need to turn it off first, otherwise it freaks out. There you go. So that will put that on there. That'll start to charge, I think, once the engine's running. I'm not sure if the power goes through anyway. Probably goes through anyway, to be honest. Obviously, you can't see the battery level, but that's a fast charge. You see, the solar panel's a slow charge. That's a fast charge. Let me have a look at the old torch here. Now, you can see that's on 1 BIP of power, and it's solar charging if I turn it off. If I put it down like that, it's now fast charging. So you can see, even though the light is on, and you can hear it, there you go. I mean, how insanely quick is that? It's like super fast. But if you don't have one, you're going to wish you did. Because if this remote control runs out in the middle of the night, you've got no choice. You can't use it anymore. So you might find yourself trying to do some shunting at night and you can't. If you've got that thing, you can just basically put it on there and it'll fast charge it. So, I've fitted one there, and I've also fitted one back here in the DH4. Just in case I happen to be back here doing stuff. This one's a bit of a nicer spot to fit it. Let me grab it out of there. Grab a solder. This one I've put on the console here. And if I just quickly solder that in. That seems like a nice spot for it. You could put it over there where the wheel slip is. But, you know, I'm not using this part of the console, so why not? Same thing. You can just put stuff on there like that, and it'll charge it up. Just be careful about putting things on top that are still active. So it said it went charging briefly, and then it went off again, but it's active. That charging station is now available to use. That will stay here, of course, because that's our museum loco. This one up here, likewise, but all the little bits we shoved in there may not. So that's all the gadgets fitted. Now we need to decide how to get up to the sawmill. I have spotted some, what I think, yeah, wood scrap. They probably want to go to sawmill. You can get wood scrap from the harbour, but they seem to have come from City South as well. I'm not sure why, so I'm kind of hoping there's a job for it. So let's have a look. We can go to the sawmill and drop all that wood scrap off. Alright, station office, and yes, there we go, sawmill. That one. City South, Orwell North, and that one. So both of these are in C Yard 10 and 30. They're worth roughly the same amount of money. It's not a fantastical amount of money, but what it will do is let us go to the sawmill here. It'll take us past this, which I think is Reginald's garage, which is where the caboose is, if I remember. If I remember, the caboose is in that bay there, and we didn't retrieve the caboose yet, I don't believe, so we can get it on the way past. Right, so let's do that. We'll grab both of these, C30, C10, and then we'll figure out their destinations. It doesn't really matter what order we do them in, because sawmill yard, one's going to go to B1C, and it literally makes no difference which order we do it in. So let's do that. Forecast is looking a bit murky at 12 o'clock. Now, we're facing the wrong way, but there is the possibility of, if we reverse out of here, we can turn the whole lot around here, this triangle, just reverse it that way, towards Coal Mountain South, and then go forward after that. So that's probably what we'll have to do, because we can't easily turn around everything here. It won't fit on that turntable, and it's not worth doing it in pieces. In terms of locomotives we're going to run, I'll probably just run the front D6 for now. and start up another one if we need a bit more power up the hills later. We're looking at, how much was it? 460 plus 644, plus whatever's on there. Probably doable by one. It might struggle at some points. We'll see how we get on. Let's get that closed. Brake is cut in. Let me just dispose of that properly. Okay. You literally can't throw things. I see how this is. Okay, well, how about that? There we go. That will, of course, reappear back in my shed later. Game won't let me get away with such things as littering. Right, I've got the job out of 1.0. This is the one in 3.0. What I'm going to do is put a flag on this. Because they're the same type of cars, it can get a bit annoying to try and figure out where the brake is. Of course, the parking brake's on that one, speaking of that. I've got time. Last time I did this, it didn't go very well. It'll definitely go better this time, right? Ooh. Yeah, last time I did that, the train slammed in. So this is 3.0, so that's 644 tons at the front, and this is the 400 one. Oh, you scumbag, I didn't get to it in time. You can see when you're dealing with such large weights, even one handbrake just can't hold that when you give it a quite a hefty shunt like that. What I should do is this, where you grab the car and wait for it to come in and then hook it up. It's a much better idea. Right, we'll do that, and we'll do that. And then we'll go to the front, release this. And we need to start pulling that forward and get it out of the yard. Because it is city south, it's a bit of a pain. Like this yard where you pick up is a dead end, so you have to pull it all the way out. Pull it all the way out of here, and then reverse it back towards the museum and take it either that way or that way. It doesn't make any difference which. We'll just go through this platform here. We'll go through there. While it's doing that, yeah, currently the passenger platforms are empty, so we can get away with this. Future updates, you know, B100 after, who knows? If they bring in passenger stuff, there might be stuff waiting there. I really don't know how it's going to work, but B100 is shaping up to be a huge, huge update to this game, but it will only be out tail end of next year if we're lucky. It feels like an eternity. But, you know, hey, you've got GTA 6 to wait for, so it's not all that bad, right? So we'll hand that in. We'll hand that one in. That started the clock on those. And what I'll do is have a look where we are. So this one's going to B3I. And this one, which is the one on the front, is going to C3I. So we need to go to B yard first. B3I and then C3I. So if we have a look at... how far down is that? It's not quite through the junction. I need to get it past that switch there. It's kind of hard to see, but doing it this way saves time. You know, you get the train moving while you're handing jobs in. It's definitely saving time. The danger is you can't see when it's gone past the switch, which is that one there. So, as I was saying, on Sawmill, which is this one, we now need to come into the B yard, which means we need to go right into the B yard. It's almost through that. All this grass and stuff up there, all this foliage just makes it even harder to see when you're past a switch. It's all very deliberate. So, city south again. This switch here is going to go to the right. This is going to go to the left. And then we're going to merge into that and merge into this. So let's get this moving. And then from City South, which is what's here, we're going to turn right out of here because we're going to reverse towards the coal mine and then going to come back out. Then we're going to keep left all the way to here, keep left again and go into directly straight into the sawmill. Now I'm just going to check that CMS has got a switch set up that if our train's long enough to end up in here, which I don't think it will be, but if it was, it would go right, left through there, or it could go through the loading yard, or we go all the way around. The safest bet is to just keep right, all the way down there, and out through that way. Okay, so let's jump on the back of here. Pick up the speed a little bit. So our first drop is the 460 ton, which is this job here, FH74. And that's going to B3I. Let me just double check that. FH74, yep, it's going to B3I. So for this one, we want to come into, right turn into the B yard. B3I is there, so we should be able to drive straight in. So right, coming in from the south, right, left, into 3I, merge through there. We'll then drop the cars off, pull the rest of it forward, and then reverse to C yard, and the other one wants to go into 3I in C yard. And this time we're coming in from the north, so we'll come back left and then right, left, right, which takes us into 3I. So I've just got a quick turnaround to do at the triangle, and then we should be good, and hopefully the weather's going to hold. And I'm hoping we only need one locomotive and not two. That'll help save a bit of money. Right, so the climb up from City South through this bit here has been a bit of a struggle for one loco. I had to full throttle in it, and its speed was going down and down and down. I went to 30, eventually leveled off, and it did it, but the rest of this journey is quite gnarly up here. So I'm going to start this second locomotive now that we're in neutral gear. I'm going to jump off just after this junction. This is the coal mine over there, coal mine south. Just stop the speed from running away. We'll jump off here. I'll just keep right on that. It's on a flat slope, so it should be okay. Let's start getting some speed shaved off. There's a huge amount of momentum here. Okay, I'm going to jump on board this one here, because this one's connected to the slug. And we're going to flip that now. And now we can drive in the front. There we go. So we've got two locomotives powering us now. So basically we're here. We're going to now proceed towards Forest South. We're going to switch left there, and then we'll arrive. This is a bit gnarly through here. We'll then arrive at Reginald's garage, and we need to put the caboose on the back of the train, which will, of course, then be dropped off. The alternative to doing that would be to wedge it in between our locos and the current job, which we could do, but it's a bit messy, so I think I'll just throw it on the back of the train, Then when we get into B yard here, we make our first drop. It will be at the back of it. So I'll probably then just make the drop into C, and then I'll get the BE2 or something, and just pull it off the back and shove it onto our train, and do it that way. That'll save time. That way we might get the bonus for this job. That's my thinking. I don't know why I'm using the remote anymore. I can just do it from here. Anyway, on to Reginald's. Very quick, sharp corner this one. Drops down to 30 rapidly. And it's a down gradient as well, so you really do have to be quite careful with it. This is basically... where's this? This is here. It turns sharply to the right over a bridge, and then drops you down at a 30-degree turn, like that. Sorry, 30-kilometer turn. And you've got to keep control of your speed going down it as well, which I'm using the dynamic brake for. You just got to keep it under 30, not just through the junction, but all the way through this bit here as well. So it's a bit of a nasty one. Coming out of here as well can be quite interesting, as you know. It's twisty and it's turny, and it's this bit, and this is where it gets gnarly now. So we're on our way down to Reginald's garage, and just like a lot of the other garages, like I think it was Steve's garage up in down the harbour way, they just put their garage in horrible places. Quite a sharp right turn. And then there'll be a really sharp turn, and then you'll see... I think it suddenly starts to climb a bit and then drop again as it goes past the garage, but we've got to get the back of the train through it. At the moment we're still on a downslope. So here's the really sharp turn. We should see, there it is, there's the track there. And the garage should be just here. There you go. Reginald's garage right there. So we've now got to get the back of the train lined up to here, so we can put it on the back of it. What I'll do is I'll turn the dynamic off, put a couple of notches of normal braking now, just so we can keep control of that speed. And then we'll stop this and we'll go and unlock the door. So that goes straight down to a left turn down there, which we've already set up to go left into the sawmill, so that's not a problem. Tell you what, I should have jumped out the other side really so I could see where the back of the train was. There it is. Okay, get that stopped right there. Now, if we get the key... like that. And I believe this is the last garage to unlock as well. Dun dun dun! And there is the caboose. Don't think it's on a slope. It would be nice if it was on a slope, and we could just kind of give it a nudge. Oh, give it a push! Nope, doesn't do anything. Okay, so let's go on. I was going to get a BE2 out, but I'll be honest with you, by the time I've done that, I could probably have just reversed this thing back up the slope. I know it's a hill start, but I just think it's going to be easier doing this. What I will do is put the handbrake back on. So back in the days before they had the wireless extender, the caboose was the way, in this game anyway, the caboose was the way to increase your wireless control distance, because this thing features a it still does or not. A battery charger inside. Oh yeah, it's got a terminal. It used to have... or maybe it doesn't. It used to have a battery charger in it, I think. But can't see one anymore. It's not to stop you from fitting one. Because it's now your vehicle, you can fit what you like in it. I thought it did have a battery charger. Maybe they removed that. The tricky thing about this is going to be slowing it down enough without punting this into the back of the whole shed. Bear in mind, it's still slightly uphill. Are you going to make it? Are you going to make it? Come on! Oh, you scumbag. Just about enough power. Get that on. Lovely. That was like a very careful operation, that was. Okay, that's now in forward gear. Release the brakes and the whole thing should start rolling. We'll make our way back down to the front of the train, and we now have the caboose. Now, I don't know how much I'm going to use it, because it has lost some of its appeal, if you like, since we've got the wireless boost thing. But most people didn't really bother with it anyway, I don't think. There is, I suppose there is a slight use for it still, in that you can put it on the back of a train, put a tiny amount of brake on it, and when you're descending with a long train, it will help to keep tension in the chains between the cars. But you know, the caboose is what the staff used to travel in at the back of the train. Like, they would sit in the back there, and they'd have a little heater in there and a cup of tea and all that kind of thing. And that's what it was used for, traditionally. But in this game, like I say, it was used as a wireless booster. But given that we now have wireless boosters, it's kind of pointless. Anyway, next stop is, in fact, the sawmill. Alright, 40 liniment coming up. Just bringing the dynamic in. Left turn into sawmill. Weirdly, it's just all downhill through here into the sawmill. The sawmill's almost in a basin. So you come down to it and then you come back out of it. Which is fine, I suppose, when you're taking logs into it, although I think there's a bit of a climb up and then a drop down. But when you're hauling stuff out the sawmill, well, now that can get interesting. Did you notice the inversion then? It went to +2. There it goes. See the clinometer? So now we need to very quickly back off the dynamic. Make sure it doesn't go over about 46, because there's still a 40 limit on the back of the train, and then get ready for the speed drop, because we're now climbing up again. There's other places on the map like this as well, where they sort of take you down and then quickly switch you back up again. And this is a brutal climb. Look at this. It's almost like a power test to make sure you've got enough power with you. Alright, 40 limit on the switch. Let's get the yard. This is basically, this switch is what we're looking at now. So we're about to enter B. Right, left. Just double check that. Okay, that's C yard over there. Right, left into 3i. Perfect. And if I remember, I put the flag on this side. So I need to go to the front of 3i roughly, because that's where we're going to want to stop the flag. And then we're going to have to drive forward with the rest of the consist. There's 3i, perfect. There's the back, there's the caboose. And... is that the flag there? There's the flag. Where's the car? There it is. Now this is definitely where the flag comes in very handy indeed. And that is like a glove. That'll do. And we'll have our flag back. Thank you very much. We'll disconnect that. And sanity check that what we're doing is 29 and 74. And 74 is not that one. 74 is that one. And 74 goes into C yard. So somehow I've just managed to disconnect the wrong train. And that's why you sanity check, ladies and gentlemen. Right there. Because mistakes happen. And that's a mistake. So anyway, that C is 74, which is this load here, is meant to go into C yard and not B yard, which means it's no biggie. It's no biggie. You can stop laughing. What it means is I'm just going to quickly reconnect this and we'll just push it back again. It's fine. It's all doable. It's just a bit more of a pain now, that's all. I just want to waste a few minutes of time. Because now I need to take this over into the C yard and drop it off. Because the one on the front, which is 29, is the one that's meant to go into C... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Am I looking at the wrong thing? Stop. Stop. Oh my god, I'm losing my mind. Am I looking at the wrong thing? Oh, jeez. I think I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Right. Let me double check this. Is this 29 that's on the front? 29 is this one here. 29, which is on the front, is going to C yard. Okay, which means 74 is going to B yard. And I had it correct in the first place. What I think I just did was I looked at the pickup point and not the drop-off point. And that sanity check needed sanity checking because the sanity check was wrong and I was correct in my first instance when I disconnected. Holy moly. Right, where's the flag? You gotta laugh. The thing is though, like genuinely this is just human error and human error is the thing. And so normally I sanity check things. But then if your sanity check itself is complete nonsense, then you really are in trouble. Okay. So it says 74. I'm not even going to check it again because I'm going to lose my mind if I do that. There's 74. Dropped off. Going to put the handbrake on that. We're going to drive the rest of that consist forward. And we are going to have to detach this thing off the back and pull it out of there. So I'll just detach it for now. That will, of course, need to be retrieved. And we need to go over this way. What's the station around here? I can't remember. And reverse this into the C yard. There it is. So we'll know if I've got it correct because it'll hand in, right? There we go. So I definitely did get it correct. And we seem to have got the bonus as well, which is lovely. That should do it there. And then sawmill is this flag. That's the one we want to switch is there. So it's now past that. Okay, that's to go into the water. So we're going to go right on this one. And then 3 eyes left. And then right. And that should bring it this way. Into 3i. Which is the wrong 3i. I really am just on one today, aren't I? That's the 3i I want. Right turn. I'm second guessing myself now because I've just messed up once or twice. So now I'm thinking I need to check that I'm not messing up. And then my checks are wrong. And then I'm, yeah, just go back to bed. It's one of those days. Let's get on here. Beautiful, 3i. So really, like once we've got this dropped off, we'll pull the front part of the train forward out the way, and then we'll probably just use a BE2 to pull that caboose off the back and shove it down here onto the train, so we'll get it back onto the back of the locomotive itself, really. It's either that or we look for a job here. Actually, I won't do that initially. We need to look for a job here first and see if we want to assemble something with the caboose on the back of it. Like I said, the problem with having a caboose on a train is it's fine if you're doing a single point-to-point job, but if you're doing a multi-drop job, it just completely gets in the way. So I don't tend to use it for that reason. Okay, that is everything in. It's the handbrake set. Disconnected. We're going to turn this off. Handbrake on the front one as well. Want to turn this one off. And we'll go and hand in this job. And we have officially done the sawmill. I do believe that is every station on the map that we've now been to, I think. Let's have a quick look. I don't know if we've necessarily taken a job out of everyone, but we've definitely been to everyone. We've definitely been to the military base, IMI, CME, goods factory. Did we take a job out of here? I can't remember. I think we've done a job. If we've not done a job out of any station, please let me know in the comments. But that is going to be it for this episode. We've arrived at the sawmill. I made some interesting human errors in that one, but we got it here, and we just about got it back up to 2 million. Remember, I spent about 150 grand on gadgets in this episode. Do hope you enjoyed that one, particularly with all the little funny bits and cock-ups and stuff. I'm sure you was screaming at the keyboard at one point. But yeah, that ticks off a few of your comments about the sawmill, using the B2 and the caboose. And we've got all the museum locomotives repaired now. So I'll address the other comments, and if there's any stations that I've not been to and done a job, please, if you can remember, let me know. That's it. Until the next episode, take care, guys, and happy training.